Thank God for editing.
You ain't lying.
This is Charlie Mike, the podcast. Veterans helping veterans, talking about things happening in the veteran community, things we've experienced and overcome, such as addictions, PTSD, depression, legal trouble. And we also promote veteran-owned businesses. If you're talking about it, we're talking about it. This is Charlie Mike, the podcast.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Charlie Mike, the podcast. This is Raul, and my special guest today is Shannon Book. Say what's up, Shannon.
Oh, man.
How you been, brother?
Brother, man, let me tell you, it's been, I've been good, man. I've been good. I've been good and bad, but more good than anything. So, lately it's been real good. Just been busy.
Yeah, man. Busy's a good thing, ain't it?
Yeah. It keeps my brain, idle hands, the devil's playground.
Man, I've been watching you. Like, I've been a fan for a while, man. We met. I don't remember when we met, but your music is inspiring, man. Your music helps a lot of people, and you keep dropping. Actually, the first time I heard your music, you were on Charlie Mike.
Yeah, Charlie Mike, right?
Yeah. Right. And man, I've been a fan ever since. I researched your music, looked you up, man. And when we finally met, we kind of just clicked. It was just it's good stuff, man.
Trust me, man. So that was, Soldier Heart is he's a character, and I love that dude. But he was definitely a good stepping stone for me. That dude had a pit of awesome people that were just all about freaking sharing the message, doing the thing, and that grew a lot of great development, developed a lot of great relationships out of that. So my hat's off to him for even putting me in that group. And from there, like, it just grew. Like, it got to a point to where once I got into Houston and joined, or we created Vetted, once that happened, like, it was kind of hard to stay in the music group, just because we were kind of going in two different directions.
Yeah.
But we were a rock band that was people really just like, whoa, man. So, and we were going around all the WTUs and the Warrior Transition Units, and that's what W2U stands for those of you as dumb as I am. And or the Wounded Warrior facilities, the Marine Corps and stuff. And we were playing music. Sometimes we'd play an acoustic show. Sometimes we'd play some live wire stuff. And it was probably one of those things. And I think one of the first things I met you at was probably a Warrior Spirit band kind of thing right there in Houston.
I'm sure. Yes. Yeah.
Right there, freaking with Rock for Recovery. Yeah,
I think so. I think that might have been it.
Yeah. So, and I may or may not have lived in that studio for a couple months.
Did you really?
When I first moved to Houston, dude, I was living in that studio downtown for like, I don't know, 3-4 months. And then I finally moved. Then I moved upscale. I moved to Clear Lake.
Oh, bougie.
It only got boozier from there. And what's stupid is I was living in Clear Lake. And everybody knows Houston, we have a problem. I'm in Clear Lake. I'm off of freaking, what's that freaking highway right there? Oh, doesn't matter. But I was literally off of like something and freaking Jupiter, which is the highway that freaking NASA Camp Johnson is on.
Okay, yeah.
And I was like, I didn't know, for a whole year, I didn't realize I could have threw a rock at freaking NASA from my apartment. I was like,
you were that close, huh?
Yeah, dude. Like, I drove by and I was like, that's a space shuttle on top of a 777. Oh, whoa, shoot, man.
Yeah.
No joke. Yeah. And then I moved to League City. It just got bougier from there.
Oh, yeah. See, you're fancy now, man. Yeah.
Now I live in Austin. How is that?
Is that where you're staying for real? You're in Austin?
Yeah, man. I live in Leander. I don't live in Austin.
Okay.
I can't handle Austin.
Yeah.
Austin is weird for a reason.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
Definitely.
but I live North Austin. Yeah, in Leander.
Yeah, man. I always tell everybody, I said, they ask how I met you. And I said, I honestly don't remember how I met Shannon, but since the time we met, we just clicked. We were just friends instantly. And I tell people, I said, there can be a veteran organization, like a group of people going, like, let's say population 4 in the city, and Shannon is one of them that's there. It's like I see him everywhere.
Well, that's kind of, that's kind of like how the music world works, man. Or just the advocate, advocate world works. If you're advocating for somebody, you can't just sit in your backyard and do it.
Yeah.
You can't sit in your backyard and go, oh, you need to take care of a blah blah blah. You need to go out, and you can't do that. You have to really go out, shake hands, and kiss cheeks, and freaking tell people things are gonna be okay, and tell them, hey, listen, we're all fighting this together. You don't have to do this by yourself. So there are a lot of people who like to think that you can start something like that out of your backseat of your car, and you can, but you got to be willing to start it out of the backseat of your car in every town you travel through.
Right. Yeah. It's once you get that following, that base, man, it's a lot of people expect a lot from you. It's not an easy thing.
Dude, I was just having this conversation the other day. So when Vetted finally got to a point to where it was starting to grow, and we, after we did the Invictus games and all this other stuff, social media became a nightmare for me. Like, your personal platform on Facebook can exceed 5,000 people. So I was already there. And my music platform was at like 10 something.
Uh-huh.
And it never stopped. Somebody's like, hey, man, I love your stuff. Hey, I got something I'd like for you to listen to. If you could share. Hey, man. Hey, bro, can you? And people just starting this freaking mom and pop stuff, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Some like you started an apparel company. Some people start these apparel companies and you just go like, did your third grader draw your art?
Yeah.
Really sweet, man, but I'm gonna need you to go back to school for that.
Yeah. Well, mine took a lot of hit and missing, man, and it's still in the process. But one thing I was telling people is like, once you start getting a platform like that, people expect stuff from you. And I get messages all the time about, hey, man, you think you can spot me here? Hey, man, you think you can send me some free clothes? Like, I do sometimes, but it's a pick and choose type of deal. I can't.
And that's the other part of it. People get to man. I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm about to say something that may or may not hurt somebody's feelings, but it's not intended to do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get a platform, when you get on a platform, and that's the problem with a platform, right? You're on a platform so everybody can see you. Everybody that's under where you're standing can see you. And then they're like, oh, dude, I want to be up there. I want to be up there. I want to be up. And then they don't understand. Half of them don't understand that required a trash ton of work to get to where you're at.
Yeah.
So then you have the conversation out loud, like, well, hard work, dedication, blood, sweat, and tears, pissing a lot of people off, but then they think that, hey, I'm gonna throw my lifeline up there. I'm just gonna need you to pull me up.
Yeah, I want to skip steps A through.
Right. Well, I can do that for you, but you're not going to have the support of the foundation under you when that happens. Then the foundation is just hard work and dedication.
Right. Yeah.
Like that's literally the foundation of anything. Whereas today, like hard work and dedication, like you say the word foundation and people are like, what? What's that?
How do I skip these steps? Is there a cheat code? Yeah.
And there already some concrete that I can build on top of? That's not how it works, fool.
Yeah. All right, man. So are you Texas born and raised?
I am not, brother.
Where
I
are
am
you
not,
from?
I could say that. I wish I could say I am Texas born and raised, but I am from Kentucky, which is like preschool for Texas.
Uh, okay.
Should I say? And here, I'll tell you why I say that. So I say that because, like, I grew up. My grandfather raised cattle, and I worked on his farm. And I grew up farming.
Mhm.
Early in the morning, and I worked on a freaking dairy farm. So to me, the difference between Texas and Kentucky's a little greener, and it's shaped weird, and it's not as big as Texas. But we have oil up there. We've got nice bass lake. Like they don't call them Kentucky bass for no reason, right? You know what I mean? So I mean, they're not Guadalupe bass, but we have Kentucky bass, and they're Kentucky bass here. So that should tell you something. And I'm just going to say this because some people don't recognize it. Kentucky and South Carolina and Tennessee may or may not have helped Texas become Texas. We're all at the Alamo, just so you know.
Yeah, man. I love going there for the history, by the way.
Yeah. Davy Crockett,
man,
straight out of Kentucky, Tennessee.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long you been in Texas? What brought you here, man?
I came here in 2015, maybe 2015, I think. Yeah, I came here middle of 2015 because it may or may not have been the hottest I'd experienced since Fallujah.
Oh yeah, it's that humidity, man.
Yeah. Well, I moved. I drove straight into freaking. Actually, so I drove. Man, so I get this phone call from the drummer, and he's like, "Hey, so would you like to move to Texas to play music?" And I was like, "Currently back at my mom and dad's house," and I'm like, "Sure."
Yeah.
So I loaded up everything I had in my trailer and my Jeep, and I drove straight to freaking Chattanooga, where I had a freaking solenoid malfunction.
Oh, damn.
I stayed up all night trying to fix that until I could get into an O'Reilly's the next morning. I fixed it, and then I continued on to Dallas, where I picked up a guitar player,
mm-hmm.
and then we may or may not have got a little, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. We got a little buzz on, and he drove from Dallas to Houston. And as soon as I got to Houston, like I got to Houston, and they're like, "Hey man, we got this freaking tune already kind of lined up. Like we got some music already set up, the background. Do you think you can write a song called No Man Left Behind? Something about No Man Left Behind, something blah, 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 like this mantra." And I was like, "Well, all right, I tell you what, how about you loop that?" And I hadn't been to Texas in a long time. And I get out of this vehicle, I'm still a little baked. And I don't do that anymore. I mean, teach their own, but
yeah.
I've been sober for a while now. But so that being said, I get out of the Jeep and walk right inside, and they start looping this, and No Man Left Behind was born in like 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I put the words to it in 30 minutes. So I wrote down all the words. I got done with it, and I actually had to walk outside and cry because I was like, that was intense. Like, yeah, that was intense. So, but that was in 2015. Yeah, that's when I got to Texas.
Man, so you did, correct me if I'm wrong, 17 years in the Navy?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, man, any regrets? Anything that you wish you could do over?
No.
If they called you tomorrow and said, "Shannon, we're going to war, you coming with us?"
Oh yeah, are you kidding me? There's one thing you don't do. You don't wake up a sleeping dragon like that. like, hey, like all these people talking about we're going to incite this riot and we're going to burn the cities down. I'm going to tell you what my answer to that is. Let's go to war. Come knock on my door. I promise you won't leave here.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man.
I will stack you in front of the door and use you as a barricade. Promise.
So from the time that you joined the Navy to what the military is right now, do you have any opinion on that?
Can we say that on a podcast?
I mean, say what you want, brother.
We'll
see if it makes the cut.
is this a PG podcast? Man, I honestly think, and this is sad, I can't believe I'm going to say this because I think our government has literally indoctrinated. And I was watching it happen after Fallujah. Like I was watching it happen. I was working at Field Med and I was over there and all these people, like, I feel like our military is indoctrinated now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like, you look at it. I mean, I still have some freaking people who are active duty and some friends who are active duty. And you talk to them now and like, you know, they have to walk the line, right? You still wear a uniform. You have to walk the line. So the line, they gradually shift it a little bit and you just keep walking the line. They gradually shift a little bit and eventually you start walking around in a circle, right? It's just like, you know, so I feel like the government is jacking up our whole way of life right now. And I don't necessarily want to get into the politics because that's a whole nother.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
That's a whole nother shit show.
Mm-hmm.
And if you really want to know what I think about that, you should check me out on Rev Nation every freaking Friday night because I promise you.
I do tune in.
Awesome. I'm glad you come in, man. But listen, dude.
Let's say that's a whole different podcast for what we're trying to do here.
Promise. So, but I think that the government is not only indoctrinating people, but I think they're indoctrinating our military and our military mindset and all of those things. And people forget that a military, and people are like, well, it's just a job. It's a job with a purpose.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just a job.
Right.
It would be like, it's like saying, well, you're a firefighter and that's just a job. Yes and no. It's not like I'm an accountant.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not counting beans and buttons and numbers.
Right.
Our job in the military is to protect and serve the Constitution and the institution of the United States of America. Mm-hmm. And that goes for every armed forces unit all over the world.
Right.
That's literally what they're in place for. Sometimes it's a show of force, like the Great White Fleet back in the freaking, you know, back during World War I. You know, sometimes it's humanitarian stuff. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's just to smack a MFer in the face.
Yeah.
Stop doing that crap. You know what I mean? But it has a very serious purpose. Like, you can do without an accountant. You can check and balance your own books. Can you do without a branch of service, an armed force branch to protect and serve your constitutional rights? No. So what I think is happening is I think that that's getting warped. And I think that our armed forces don't even understand why they're there anymore.
I can see where you're coming from. Yeah, definitely.
That I feel like they, and God bless them. But I think that today they feel as entitled as the millennials they protect. I don't know about you, but when I joined and I was an E1 and they were like, hey, we need you to go in here and scrape the toilets with the toothbrush, you just kind of was like, I thought I joined the Navy, and you're in there going, I thought I joined the military. Now I'm a glorified janitor with a uniform. Like,
Yeah.
I joined the Navy, and we had bell bottoms back in the day, and the Navy, it looked like, so our our working uniform looked like a prison uniform.
What year did you get in?
1994.
Damn. Shan, you don't I didn't think you were that of age, sir.
Oh yeah. I'm 46, but so we still had bell bottoms.
Yeah.
We still had those old dungaree bell bottoms and the dungaree shirts that looked literally like a prison outfit, man.
Mm-hmm.
And you had your name stenciled in freaking ink pen, like ink marker, like with a stencil. You'd have to freaking do your stencil on your shirt. And over here you'd put US Navy. And it literally looked like if you were far enough away, it looked like a number. you look like inmates with doggy bowls on your head. It was weird.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So I want to get back to, who is Shannon Book? Okay, man. So your music is inspiring, and it touches it. Each song you sing has a purpose, and that's what I love. You could actually listen to your music, close your eyes, and you can hear a story, and you can picture it. And it's one of the reasons I love your music. What man, like Not Alone, was that from you in your mind? Like, was that, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. So I'll tell you, first of all, that's a huge compliment, bro. I can't even tell you, like, that makes that. Give me a second.
I love you, brother.
I love you too, man. That was that's why I do the music that I do. And I'm not trying to be emotional, and I'm not trying to be theatrical right now, but that is the reason that I write the music that I write. The music that I write. So you asked me about Not Alone. Long story short, we were out advocating for suicide awareness, suicide prevention, blah, blah, blah. We'd go at the Wounded Warrior battalions and, you know, in the warrior transition units, and be like, hey man, like, you don't have to fight this stuff alone. You don't have to fight. Here's some music, just take a listen and know that we're here. You can call. And I had my phone published. My phone number was published on the page. Dumbest thing in the world. I meant well. That's too much for one person to handle.
Mm-hmm.
That's too much for one person to handle. That being said, we had just gotten off of a tour, and we came back to celebrate. May or may not have had a few drinks.
It's okay. Yeah.
We threw down in Houston a little bit. We threw down in H-Town for a little while and partied, and then I crashed at the studio on the couch, and I don't know what it was, but at about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, like, the words of the song started playing in my head. Like, literally, like, so I'm about to tell you the story, and I'm going to tell you where I think the song came from.
Okay.
So the words started playing in my head. And at this point, I'm hungover, probably still partially intoxicated.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, no, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Like, it's like telling your mom, I don't want to go to school today. Leave me alone. And they wouldn't stop. The words would not stop. They just kept coming. The first verse kept playing in my head. You need to get up and write this down. No. So I was like, you know what? Fine. I'm gonna grab. So I grabbed my phone. I just laying on the couch. I'm like, and I'm like, oh, that ain't working. So I got up. I turned the lights on in the studio, and I grabbed a notepad and I started writing down some more words. And then I was like, no, that ain't enough. Like, I gotta figure. And then I grabbed my guitar. I grabbed my acoustic guitar, and I sat down. And then probably about 30 minutes of waking up, Not Alone was born. And I don't think I wrote that song. I think God wrote me in that song.
Yeah. Damn.
Because I've struggled. I'll be honest with you. I struggled with that stuff for a lot. I've struggled with it for a long time. And to be honest with you, to be completely honest with you, when you're out advocating against it and trying to prevent it, when I was out advocating, I'll use first person because that's what I should be doing. When I was out advocating against suicide and trying to prevent it, I think without working on my own issues, I was trying to prevent my own.
I understand that 110%.
Yeah. And in order to prevent my own, I had to fix myself first. That's kind of like where "Let Me Fix Myself" comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to recognize that there was something really going on with me.
Yeah.
And it didn't really happen until the band kind of blew up. I was in the band got really toxic. My ex-girlfriend was a really toxic person. And I chose her over a band. To be honest with you, I probably should have just chosen myself over both of them.
Right.
And eventually I did. But there was a lot of damage done at that point. And probably to all of us for that matter. It's like trying to, you got cogs in a machine and you throw a pebble in a machine and all of a sudden those cogs start to wobble and they start to wobble and vibrate and eventually start losing teeth. And eventually those teeth start to damage things and they start making more freaking problems. And eventually the machine fails.
Yeah.
A lot of damage done in that machine. And it's not necessarily all been done to me. Like I probably did some damage to people too. And, at the end of the day, I had to learn that it's more important to fix myself, to show people how to heal, show people how to beat it, show people where to go. Because if I'm not walking the walk and talking the talk, if I'm talking the talk and not walking the walk, what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
Smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
It's smoke and mirrors. So, and nowadays, and I love working with non-profit organizations, but I'll be honest with you, if you're a nonprofit organization that's all smoke and mirrors, I got nothing to do with you.
Yeah. Nowadays you definitely got to do your research in them. It's, I get emails from different people who want to be on the podcast and it's like, I do a deep dive into different ones because
what you're doing. Let me see your socials. Let me see your freaking, let me see your freaking financials. Like if you don't really, really vet people nowadays, I promise you, it's too easy to be a con artist nowadays.
Yeah, man. Definitely.
And especially now we're starting to do all this political garbage. Like, hey, by the way, just so you know, it was real easy to be a con artist in 2019, but give us 2 years. We're going to show you how real cool it is, So here we are in 2021 and it's like, I don't even want to go to the grocery store.
Yeah, I know. Hey, so when did you start singing, man? When did you find out you had that gift?
Man, it's funny that you asked that question. I don't know that I've ever really looked at it as a gift until just recently. I know that a lot of other people have. I just know that I enjoyed singing.
Right.
And I've always heard, hey, man, you're really good. You're really good. You're really good. And I'm like, you're just saying that, blah, 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 whatever.
Right.
I didn't have a lot of personal value. And just for those of you out there listening, that's the most important piece of information I'll ever give you. Your personal value dictates what everybody else thinks of you. Period. So I didn't have a lot of personal value. And there were people who had value in me, but I didn't have faith in that. I didn't realize it and I didn't trust it. but I've always sung. My dad used to tell me, "Shut up" in the back of the car. I can't hear the radio. And I'd be like, "Ooh," I'd quiet down and be like,
Yeah.
But I've always enjoyed singing. And then my grandfather was like, "Hey, I started band in the 5th grade in elementary school, and I started on the saxophone.
You still got skills on it?
I still know it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about purchasing a new saxophone and practicing it up, and I don't know, maybe even throwing it in a track or something. I don't know.
That'd be something here.
But I used to play real well for probably about 7 years.
Yeah.
And so my grandfather bought me a cassette called Boots Randolph's Greatest Hits. And he goes, "When you can learn how to play this cassette, I will buy you," because we were renting. We were poor kid. I was a poor kid from nowhere. I lived in a 64 foot single wide trailer on a hillside.
Mm-hmm.
So I was renting a saxophone from the school. But my grandpa told me, he's like, "If you learn how to play this cassette front and back, I'll buy you your first saxophone." And by about 9th grade, 10th grade, it was about time for him to put up or shut up. So I ended up with my own saxophone, but then I ended up selling that before I joined the Navy. I should have kept it. But I enjoyed that instrument. That instrument was the gateway for me playing music.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always sang. I sang in high school, and it's weird. They used to call me Garth Book.
No shit.
Yeah, because so when I was in high school, Garth was like, I think my senior year, the album 7 came out.
Mm-hmm.
And the dance, and like I was in choir my senior year, and most people were like, "Meh, whatever, stupid." Like, that's where all the girls were, bro.
Yeah.
So like, whatever, you can judge me all you want. It's either home ec or choir. That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
But my buddy was a phenomenal pianist, and he started playing the dance one day. He was like just playing it, like that whole intro, and I was like, "Oh, dude, keep going." And like, we sitting in there, and the teacher walks in, and she goes, "Well, I know what you're doing next freaking meet. You're going to be doing some Garth Brooks soloing." And I'm like, "Okay, whatever." Like, whatever. So at that point, they was like, we're going to get Garth Book up on the stage to do a solo. I'm just like, "Shut up, man."
Garth Book. I like that.
We cover a lot of Garth Brooks, man.
Yo, I'm gonna change your name in my phone now.
To Garth Book. Nice.
Man, so I'm gonna tell you, hey, you work magic on the damn guitar, man. When you did that national anthem at the Val 22 event, man,
Yeah, man.
Gave me chills, brother.
Dude, I was listening to that today, and I was like, "Holy crap, did I do that?" Like, it popped up in my feed, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I should listen to this." And I listened to it, and I was like, "Oh wow." like I was impressed with myself, and I don't do that very often. I try not to view myself that way. I try to keep humble, but I was like, "That's not half bad."
Yeah, man, it sounded good.
That was pretty cool.
Real good.
I enjoy that. I enjoy doing that though.
How did you ever become involved with those guys, David and them?
That's an interesting story. So I used to be in an organization up here in Austin, and they do this thing called Vet Fest. They're OP veteran, and they do this thing. They used to do this thing every year called Vet Fest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Val 22 showed up one year at Vet Fest, and lo and behold, they were like, "Hey, man, we got to get Shannon Book to come down and play some music or something." well, we just finally became friends. Like David, David's a Marine. I'm a Navy corpsman.
Right.
Like, it's like water and applesauce, like whatever. So we just kind of became friends, and I think one year they asked me to come sing the national anthem, and I was like, well, what if I played it on guitar? And Stephanie was like, are you kidding me? Like, I've always wanted to hear that. I always wanted blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, so I'll work that up. So I did.
She's the nicest, isn't she?
Man, that whole group of people, that whole group of people, like that, everybody that was down there, like, yeah, they're all just good people, man. And
they really are.
You want to talk about a group that actually walks the walk that they talk. I'm gonna tell you right now, like there was at one point, somebody in the Val 22 page, like made a statement, and Stephanie was concerned, and the only other person that was associated with that individual was me.
Mm-hmm.
So Stephanie calls me. She goes, hey, how do you know this guy? And I'm like, like, I'm a musician. Like, people just follow me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, she goes, well, I don't think he's doing well. And I'm like, okay, do you want me to reach out and see if I can get a hold of him? She goes, that'd be good. And so I did. And long story short, like they put their money where their mouth is. Like they try to take care of people in freaking in Lake Jackson and in Houston, in the greater Houston area, Pasadena, all around there. But this guy was in flipping Arizona.
Yeah.
And so I get a hold of this guy, and I get this guy to get a hold of them. And they were, man, they had it set up. Like they were going to do telehealth with this guy. They were going to freaking take care of this dude. He was going to do counseling, yada, 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 get him to where he needed to be, all this other stuff. But they put their money where the mouth is.
That's good, man. It's
like they did all that stuff. All I had to do was connect them.
Yeah. It's great that there's real organizations out there like that, man. And there's a lot of iffy ones, but I always swore by Val 22.
Yeah, well, yeah, brother. Listen, I promise you, if there's ever anybody that I would drop my last drop of blood for, it'd be them for sure.
Yeah, same. They're good people, man.
American Valor Foundation. For the Kyle family does the American Valor Foundation. Those guys are awesome. Everything that I make off of Not Alone this month goes to the American Valor Foundation. Mm-hmm. There's some hunting organizations like Cover 6 Outdoors, and there's just some really good people that actually practice what they preach.
Yeah, I had a Pause for Heroes on in the last episode, man. They're good people, man.
Mm-hmm. I was watching those little videos of those puppies hanging out on the porch, and I'm like, I need one of those, man. I need one of those.
Yeah.
But I don't. I mean, I do, but somebody else needs it more than I do.
Right. Yeah.
That's just our mentality. Like, I want one of those as a service dog. Somebody needs that more than I do. Damn it. Fine.
That's the way we think. I see it. Yeah. Your new song, I Need to Breathe, man.
Yeah.
I love it, man. I stayed up till actually it came out at 11 our time, and I downloaded it right off the, got it.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
And man, it's a good song, man. Yeah.
Hey. Well, there's a long story behind that song, like, and I'll try to keep it short. I Need to Breathe was written right after I got back from Fallujah.
Mm-hmm.
I've probably been back from Fallujah for probably maybe less than 4 or 5 days. And my buddy's fiance was like, hey, Scott just left. You just got back. Hey, can we catch up and just have a cup of coffee? Just want to say hi and see how you're doing. And she just wanted to check in on me, which was awesome. So, and she was probably trying to get intel on what her husband or fiance was about to jump into.
Yeah.
I was trying not to give her any of that information, however, comma.
Right.
So we meet up for coffee, and I was just struggling. I was struggling. Like I was constantly looking over my shoulder. People would walk by and I'd be like following them, checking things out. Like at this point, like I'm driving down Highway 5 in freaking California, and there's a box on the side of the road, and I'm crossing 4 lanes of traffic to get away from it. Like that's, and I always rode with my top down in my Jeep. So I could see if I had to shoot somebody, I'd shoot somebody, but I never carried a weapon in my Jeep. So other than sharp objects, I had lots of sharp objects in my Jeep. But yeah, like, so that song came about because I felt like I was having a hard time taking a deep breath because I didn't know what post-traumatic stress was.
Right.
I had no idea. I just knew that I just got back from combat, and I hated I hated how everybody thought. And like, man, you people don't understand how good you have it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's where my mentality was. I was like, you people have no idea how good you have it. And they're like, whoa, we shouldn't be over there. We shouldn't be. And I'm like, man, you know what? Shut your mouth, because you have no idea what's going on.
Right.
But, and Fallujah in 2004 was not a pretty place.
Yeah, man.
There was nothing pretty about it.
Yeah, man. I was in Ramadi not in 2003. I was there 2006, 2007. During the nasty Ramadi days. I mean, Ramadi was pretty. I'll tell you, Ramadi, what we called Blue Diamond, was not great in 2004 either. Yeah, Blue Diamond was still there.
Yeah. So they used to lob mortars in there all the time. Yeah. Like they'd be like, hey, it's 5 o'clock, button your shit on. You just hit like that was Reveille and freaking taps, bro.
Yeah, there was nothing there.
Yeah, no. But they were like, well, that's where the Marines are.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah, man. Hey, Shannon, man, I enjoyed talking to you, man. Let people know how they can hear your music and follow you.
Dude, you can follow me on pretty much every social media platform there is: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Rumble. I just started a Rumble page, so I'll be putting some stuff up on Rumble, YouTube, what's it called, Telegraph, and all those other freaking new platforms.
You got me. I don't even know what that is.
Well, trust me, you're gonna have to get there eventually, brother, because I'm pretty sure that this platform, like all these other platforms, are gonna get really, really weird. But and you can find all my music at anywhere you get your digital downloads, anywhere you stream, Spotify, Amazon Music, iTunes, Apple Music. Yeah, man.
So I Need to Breathe, if it's downloaded, where's it going to this?
So I Need to Breathe is mine. Like,
okay.
So the song, let me tell you real quick about I Need to Breathe. The song is dedicated to a Navy corpsman brother of mine, Joe Schulter.
Okay.
He was dealing with PTSD really bad, and he'd call me out of the blue and be like, hey man, I need you to sing Breathe for me. And I'd be like, dude, I'm on 20 right now doing 75 miles an hour. Like, I can't be, like, I just need you to sing. And I could hear tears in his throat. And so I would just sing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he would hang up, and I wouldn't hear from him for another month or two. And he ended up passing away in 2016. I want to say he drank himself to death, but I don't want to say that out loud, but that's basically what happened. He had a lot of deep, dark secrets that he couldn't let go of. So that song's dedicated to Joe. I Need to Breathe is dedicated to Joe Schulter. Not Alone, anything that I make from Not Alone goes to an organization of my choosing for the month. And this month, that organization is the American Valor Foundation.
American Valor Foundation.
Yeah. And so every dime that I make from Not Alone goes to the American Valor Foundation. And if you go to my Spotify account, if you go to my streaming platform on Spotify, there will be, by probably tomorrow, a donation button that you can literally donate directly to the American Valor Foundation.
Nice, man. Hey, you're doing great work, brother. Again, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, man. It's always a pleasure to see you, and especially wearing those little itty bitty shorts, man.
I'm wearing my Dickies today, bro.
So you guys, if you haven't heard Not Alone, check it out. If you haven't heard I Need to Breathe, check it out. Shannon, I appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you for everything you continue to do for our veterans. I love you, man. Till next time, brother.
Yeah, brother. Anytime, brother. You let me know if I could do anything to help you. Promise.
I appreciate it, man.
Thank you for sharing my message, and God bless you, brother. I love you too, man.
I love you, brother. Charlie Mike.
Roger.